So I left Glass Onion feeling pretty disappointed, and I kinda had to point my finger at Benoit Blanc, the non-scary whimsical James Bond, and Knives Out for giving us this problem. By the way, I loved Knives Out, I loved Benoit Blanc in Knives Out, I loved Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc in Knives Out. So when I heard about a Knives Out sequel being an entirely new Blanc detective story, I was ecstatic. Give me more Blanc. But I was really wrong. After seeing the original Knives Out 3 years ago in theaters, I was amazed at the entire cast, but specifically the trio of Marta, Ransom, and Blanc. Blanc was perfect as the mysterious detective watching over a knowingly compromised Marta, in the background slowly piecing together the donut hole in the donut's hole inside of another donut's hole until his climactic reveal of the completed donut.
A donut hole in a donut's hole.
And I walked out of that theater thinking, damn. I gave it a clean 5 stars in Letterboxd, which was not easy for me to do. Glass Onion got 3, by the way, and talked about it to everyone who would listen until they started to drone me out. But see, here's the thing. Given that Blanc would be the only carryover character from Knives Out, it would make complete sense that the best approach this time would be to lead into the story through his perspective, making him the de facto protagonist, at least until we find out about Helen. So that's what they did. Except it doesn't make any sense, at all. Because for the entire first half of the movie, we are following a quote-unquote protagonist whose motive for being in this story, for making every choice he makes, being that he's bored, that he wants the rush for a new case, and the stakes for this protagonist, if he fails, well, physically there's nothing, he's not going to die or anything, but emotionally, there's also nothing. So we have a protagonist whose motives are pretty much as weak as you can possibly get, and who has no stakes whatsoever. We have a protagonist who's not a protagonist. Meaning, for the whole of this first half, I have no emotional investment in this story at all. There isn't a way to have an emotional investment. And that's pretty important. So a new protagonist is necessary, and she enters the stage in Helen Brand. Murdered sister, strong motive, strong stakes, emotional weight. Look at that. After we're through half of the movie, look at that, take the next 30 minutes in a flashback just so we can have some level of an emotional climax. And don't get me wrong, I liked this scene. It was amazing payoff too.
You start with something small. Everybody gets excited because you're busting up something that everyone wanted broken in the first place. That's the infraction point. That's the place where you have to look within yourself and ask, am I the kind of person who will keep going? Will you break more things? Break bigger things? Are you willing to break the thing that nobody wants you to break?
And I was very entertained. Entertained, but empty. Knives Out opened with Marta immediately establishing her motivation and her stakes, then takes time throughout the movie to build tension naturally, while also allowing us to root for her by showing her as kind and humble, developing more problems with her mother being an illegal immigrant and the family threatening her. As a minority and an immigrant, she directly leads the movie's themes on classism, as a protagonist should. But Glass Onion doesn't do half of this for Helen and tries to force all of what it does do within a 30-minute expositional flashback, just to go right into a climax that doesn't even have Benoit Blanc, who was most of the movie's protagonist. Knives Out is Marta's story. Blanc is a main player, but he doesn't drive the story forward. And Glass Onion is Benoit Blanc's story, and he just isn't enough. But Blanc is just a symptom of a much bigger problem. I like to ask myself what my expectations are going into a movie. What am I excited to see? Going into Glass Onion, it was this puzzle. It was this complex glass onion flavored donut that we were included in, that we needed to figure out and break down. Knives Out created this expectation. The allure from Knives Out was this maze of clues and this big answer that we're missing, a mystery that was different in the way it tricks you from the beginning. Knives Out made you think from the start that it wasn't a mystery, because we knew Marta did it, just to flip that on its head. And that's more of what we got. Another subversive mystery. Glass Onion creates this complex puzzle. More misdirection, more questions, more confusion, just for it to be the simplest answer all along. But real mystery, just like every story throughout all of time, is driven through character, through change and growth. That's what makes people care. And with another Knives Out movie on the way, let's just hope that nobody forgets that.